If I told you there was one exercise that could eliminate 95% of shoulder problems in minutes, you probably think I was lying. But after treating over 1,000 shoulder cases, I discovered something that will shock you. The exercise I'm going to show you isn't some secret technique. It's been hiding in plain sight, but no one is teaching it correctly, and that's why your shoulder pain keeps coming back. What makes this even more incredible, you can test it right now and feel immediate improvement. But here's the catch. Everything you've been told about shoulder pain is wrong. I'm Dr. Joey Seyforth, physical therapist and online rehab specialist with Comeback Performance, where we help people eliminate their shoulder pain through our one-on-one online coaching program. Today, I'm going to expose the hidden truth about shoulder pain that the medical system doesn't want you to know and give you the one exercise that fixes almost every shoulder problem. Let me start with what most people think fixes shoulder problems: rest, stretching, and those basic banded rotator cuff exercises that every PT clinic hands out. Here's what happens. You rest for weeks, the pain comes back the moment you return to activity, you stretch religiously, you get temporary relief that never lasts, you do banded rotator cuff exercises until you can do 50 reps, but you still can't reach overhead without pain. The reason these approaches fail is simple. They're treating the spot that hurts, not the root cause creating the pain. It's like trying to fix a leaking roof by putting buckets on the floor. You're managing the problem, not solving it. Traditional healthcare completely misses the major player in shoulder health. They look at the shoulder, they test your rotator cuff, they examine the joint, but they completely ignore the foundation your shoulder sits on, and that's your shoulder blade. Here's the hidden truth that traditional healthcare doesn't want you to know. 95% of shoulder problems aren't actually shoulder problems. They're shoulder blade issues. Your shoulder blade is the foundation your shoulder sits on. If the foundation is cracked or unstable, no amount of work on the house itself will fix the problem. But healthcare professionals don't screen or look at the shoulder blade. They're only focused on the spot that's painful. Think about it. When you go to the doctor or PT for shoulder pain, what do they test? They test your shoulder. They give you shoulder exercises. They inject your shoulder. They even operate on your shoulder. But they never address the mechanics of where your shoulder actually lives and moves from. This is why people get stuck in the treatment hamster wheel for months and years. You're working on the wrong area. The shoulder blade controls shoulder movement, positioning, and stability. When it's not working correctly, everything downstream breaks down. Let me show you exactly what's happening using the shoulder model, because once you see this, everything will make perfect sense. So we have our shoulder blade right here, and we have our shoulder. If our shoulder blade's not upwardly rotating enough, this is what happens. As we rotate, that ball is getting compressed between the shoulder and shoulder blade right there. That's where we're getting that impingement. The impingement can be on different tissues. It could be on bursa. If we look at this side, if we actually get the shoulder blade to upwardly rotate the entire way to that 60 degrees right there, we can lift our arm all the way up. We no longer have that impingement. We can also reach across our body and reach back, and that's going to significantly offload the shoulder and make it feel a lot better. This is why typical rotator cuff exercises fail. They're trying to strengthen the shoulder without first fixing the shoulder blade foundation that creates the problem in the first place. Now here's the incredible part. There's one exercise that specifically trains the critical 60-degree shoulder blade rotation while simultaneously fixing the other areas your shoulder depend on. And after analyzing over 1,000 shoulder cases, I discovered this exercise addresses 95% of shoulder problems. Before I reveal this game-changing exercise, let's test your current shoulder function. Raise your arm straight up towards the ceiling and notice exactly where you feel restriction, tightness, or pain. Pay attention to how high you can go before symptoms start. This is showing you exactly how far your shoulder blade can upwardly rotate right now. Remember this feeling and position. We're going to test this in just a few minutes after we train your shoulder blade to achieve that optimal 60-degree rotation. I know you're struggling with shoulder pain and you obviously want to fix it, so text me the word pain to 720-710-4371, and I'll send you my free shoulder pain fix demo. Now back to the show. The exercise that fixes 95% of shoulder problems is the wall slide, but not the way most people do it. This is the only exercise that simultaneously trains the 60-degree shoulder blade rotation, thoracic spine positioning, and shoulder joint control that your shoulder depends on for pain-free function. Head over to the wall and place one foot in front of the other and place your hands on the wall with elbows off. From there, you're going to slide your arms up the wall, leaning your chest forward at the top. Move in and out of this position on the wall, making sure to not force the motion. As you do more of these, you will feel your shoulders getting higher and higher up the wall. You should also feel your shoulder blades moving up and around during. Slide up slowly, focusing on that shoulder blade rotation, then slide back down with control. You should feel the shoulder blades moving up and around to that optimal 60-degree position. Do 3 sets of 10 controlled reps. The most common mistake is trying to go too high without proper shoulder blade rotation. Stay within the range where you can maintain perfect mechanics and gradually progress as your shoulder blade learns to rotate properly. Now, let's retest your shoulder blade function. Raise your arm straight up and towards the ceiling again, the exact same test we did before the exercise. Notice the difference? You should immediately feel increased range of motion, less restriction, and your shoulder blade is able to rotate further up and around. That's your shoulder blade learning to achieve closer to that optimal 60-degree rotation. That's the power of addressing the foundation instead of just the shoulder itself. If you felt even 10% improvement, you just experienced what happens when you train proper shoulder blade mechanics. This one exercise gives you immediate proof that your shoulder problem was actually a shoulder blade foundation problem. Here's why this one exercise fixes 95% of shoulder problems when multiple other exercises fail. It's the only exercise that specifically trains that critical 60-degree shoulder blade rotation while also addressing thoracic spine extension and shoulder joint control simultaneously. Remember we saw in the model, when your shoulder blade rotates properly, that ball can't get compressed and you get pain-free movement. Traditional rotator cuff exercises ignore the shoulder blade foundation completely. They're trying to strengthen the house while the foundation is crumbling. But when you train the system that your shoulder actually depends on, the 60-degree rotation, the thoracic positioning, the joint control, everything falls into place. This is how your shoulder actually works in real life. When you reach overhead to grab something from a shelf, your shoulder blade has to rotate upward, your thoracic spine has to extend, and your shoulder joint has to maintain alignment. The wall slide trains the exact pattern and perfect coordination. Now you might be wondering, what about the 5% of shoulder problems that it doesn't fix? These are cases involving significant structural damage where the shoulder blade mechanism is so compromised that conservative care isn't enough. Massive rotator cuff tears, severe arthritis, or cases requiring surgical intervention. But here's what's incredible. Even in those cases, restoring that 60-degree shoulder blade rotation dramatically improves function and reduces pain. The foundation principle applies to everyone, even post-surgery. The truth is your shoulder blade isn't a shoulder problem. It's a shoulder blade foundation problem. When you restore that critical 60-degree rotation and train the supporting areas, the compression disappears and the pain takes care of itself. This one exercise gives you immediate proof that your shoulder blade is the key, but it's not the complete solution. True shoulder recovery requires systematically addressing all the factors that prevent optimal shoulder blade rotation and building the strength to maintain it under load. If the wall slide improved your overhead reach and proved that your shoulder blade foundation was the missing piece, and you're ready for the complete system that permanently restores optimal shoulder blade mechanics, then text me the word PAIN to 720-710-4371 to get a tailored step-by-step approach on how to permanently fix your shoulder pain. Our mission at Comeback Performance is to help over 1 million people around the world eliminate their shoulder pain, avoid unnecessary imaging, injections, and surgeries, and get their lives back. After you reach out, please like and subscribe to the channel. We're putting out daily content based on your guys' questions on shoulder-related topics regarding pain and rehab. At Comeback Performance, the comeback is always stronger than the setback.